Hollywood loves a good love story, but it loves a cheating scandal even more. From co-stars getting a little too comfortable on set to marriages exploding. The moment the cameras stopped rolling. These affairs had everything: drama, betrayal, awkward press tours, and some very bad decisions. Buckle up, because when fiction ends, the real mess begins. Number 1. Justin Timberlake and Alicia Wainwright. One night out, a wedding ring disappears. Justin Timberlake was once Hollywood's golden boy. A pop legend, a charming actor, a devoted husband to Jessica Biel since 2012. He seemed untouchable. Then one night in New Orleans on set, and at a bar gathering, misfortune struck. While filming Palmer, Justin was photographed in overly intimate poses with his co-star Alicia Wainwright. And by intimate, we mean holding hands, leaning close together, drinking together, and casually slipping hands under the table as if no one was watching. Worse still, the wedding ring was nowhere to be seen. The photos showed Alicia with her hand on Justin's knee, while Justin had his arm around her waist, as if they were auditioning for a romantic comedy rather than starring in a scandal. The internet went wild. Fans were shocked. The headlines spread like wildfire. And somewhere Jessica Biel was probably wondering how a single drink had become a global news story. The backlash was intense, forcing Justin into showbiz's damage control operation. He issued a public apology, calling it a grave error in judgment, and insisting nothing actually happened. It's classic Hollywood language to say, "Please stop yelling at me." The marriage remains intact, at least on paper, but the damage has been done. Because in Hollywood, you don't need an affair to ruin a perfect image. Sometimes a night out, a lost ring, and a few photos that just won't go away are enough. Number 2. Dominic West and Lily James' Rome wasn't built in a day, but this scandal was. If there's one city that knows how to destroy a marriage, it's Rome. And unfortunately for Dominic West, the paparazzi were sightseeing too. While filming The Pursuit of Love in 2020, Dominic and his much younger co-star Lily James were photographed looking far less like colleagues and far more like a couple on a romantic vacation. Kissing at cafes, lounging on the Spanish steps, riding a scooter together through the city. At that point, it stopped looking like a TV production and started looking like a honeymoon montage. Here's the issue. Lily James was single. Dominic West absolutely was not. He had been married to Catherine Fitzgerald for over 10 years and shared 4 children with her. When the photos surfaced, the internet exploded, and Catherine reportedly learned about the situation the same way everyone else did, through the headlines. Just days later, Dominic and his wife staged one of the most uncomfortable public statements Hollywood has ever seen. The couple posed outside their home holding a handwritten sign that read, "Our marriage is strong, and we're very much still together." Romantic? Not really. Awkward, extremely. Lily, meanwhile, did the smartest thing possible. She vanished. Interviews canceled. Press avoided. Silence activated. No dramatic confession. No emotional apology tour. Just one Roman getaway that turned into a worldwide scandal. Because when you mix Italy, a married actor, and a co-star, you do not get art. You get headlines. Number 3, Chad Michael Murray and Paris Hilton when teen drama turned into real-life mess. Chad Michael Murray and Sophia Bush fell in love while filming One Tree Hill. Fans adored them. The chemistry was real, the romance felt pure, and by 2005, they were married. It looked like a fairy tale. That fairy tale lasted about 5 months. Rumors quickly surfaced that Chad had gotten involved with Paris Hilton while filming the horror movie House of Wax. Yes, that Paris Hilton. According to reports and people close to the situation, the two grew close on set, and the timing could not have been worse. Chad was newly married. Sophia was blindsided. The most awkward part, Chad and Sophia still had to work together on One Tree Hill for years after the split. Imagine acting in love with the person who allegedly broke your heart. That is not acting. That is emotional endurance. Years later, Chad admitted he was young, unprepared, and made serious mistakes. Sophia, on the other hand, was far more honest about the damage. She later wrote that the scandal deeply traumatized her and turned her marriage into nothing more than a public statistic. In the end, the affair faded, the marriage was over, and the lesson was painfully clear. When real life starts copying TV drama, nobody gets a happy ending. Number 4. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. When Mr. and Mrs. Smith was not acting. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were Hollywood royalty. Married in 2000, beautiful, successful, and so likable it almost felt illegal. Then Brad showed up on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith and apparently forgot one small detail. He already had a wife. Enter Angelina Jolie. Cool, dangerous, effortlessly magnetic. The kind of co-star you do not accidentally fall for unless you really stop trying not to. The chemistry was intense. While Brad insisted nothing inappropriate happened at first, the timing told a different story. Jennifer Aniston filed for divorce in 2005, and not long after Brad and Angelina stopped pretending this was all a coincidence. To make things worse, Brad later described his marriage to Jennifer as something he was pretending to be happy in. Which is a bold thing to say about America's sweetheart on your way out the door. Brad and Angelina went on to build a massive family, adopt children, and dominate tabloids for over a decade. They eventually married, proving that the affair was not just a fling, but the irony is impossible to ignore. The relationship that began by blowing up one of Hollywood's most beloved marriages eventually blew up too. Number 5. Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, Han Solo, broke the rules off-screen too. Harrison Ford was already a married man, a father, and 36 years old when Star Wars began filming in 1976. Carrie Fisher was 19, brand new to Hollywood, and about to become a pop culture icon. What could possibly go wrong, according to Carrie, quite a lot. In her memoir, The Princess Diarist, Carrie revealed that she and Harrison had a brief but intense affair during filming. She described it as Han and Leia during the week, and Carrie and Harrison on the weekends. Romantic maybe. Responsible absolutely not. Harrison was married to Mary Marquardt at the time, and they had 2 children. Carrie later admitted she fell hard, while Harrison kept things firmly limited to the shadows. The most uncomfortable part is not just the age gap or the secrecy, but the aftermath. Carrie openly acknowledged the imbalance and the heartbreak, while Harrison never publicly confirmed the affair. After Carrie's death, the silence stayed, because nothing says galactic hero like avoiding accountability on Earth. Sometimes the real dark side is not the Force, it's a married leading man who never explains himself. Number 6. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Fargo was fiction. The marriage fallout was not. Ewan McGregor had the reputation of being the thoughtful, grounded guy in Hollywood. Married for over 20 years, 4 kids, barely any drama. Basically, the last actor fans expected to see tangled up in a cheating scandal. Then came Fargo Season 3, and suddenly the off-screen story got messier than the show itself. Ewan starred opposite Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and before long, rumors started swirling. Mary announced her separation first, which softened the headlines. Ewan, however, was still very much married to Eve Mavrakis. Photos of Ewan and Mary kissing hit the internet, and fans connected the dots faster than any publicist could scramble for cover. By early 2018, Eve filed for divorce, and the "it just happened" explanation quietly fell apart. Even Ewan's daughter publicly called out the situation online, which is never ideal for the wholesome image brand. The relationship survived, turned serious, and even led to a child. But the lesson stuck. No matter how sincere the actor seems, a co-star can still turn a clean reputation into a headline overnight. Number 7. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Love at first set. Divorce on fast forward. Tom Cruise met Nicole Kidman on the set of Days of Thunder, and Hollywood immediately went into fairy tale mode. Sparks flew, cameras rolled, and suddenly Tom had found his new leading lady. There was just one tiny speed bump. He was still married to actress Mimi Rogers at the time. But in true action star fashion, Tom did not slow down. Not long after the on-set romance began, Tom divorced Mimi in 1990 and married Nicole less than a year later. The industry sold it as destiny. Two beautiful stars, wildly successful, adopting children and starring in movies together like a perfectly branded power couple. From the outside, it looked flawless. From the inside, not so much. After 10 years of marriage, Tom and Nicole's relationship ended abruptly in 2001. Nicole later admitted the divorce shocked her and took years to recover from, describing their marriage as a bubble where they became emotionally dependent on each other. In the end, the romance that started fast ended even faster. Because when a relationship begins by skipping a step, it often skips the ending too. Number 8. Billy Crudup and Claire Danes, When True Love Has Terrible Timing. In 2003, Billy Crudup was in a long-term relationship with actress Mary Louise Parker. 8 years together. Solid career. One small detail, though. She was 7 months pregnant with his child. Enter Claire Danes, his much younger co-star, and suddenly Hollywood decided timing was optional. Billy and Claire were quickly spotted getting cozy all over New York City, holding hands, smiling courtside, and behaving like two people who absolutely did not want to be subtle. The scandal exploded when news broke that Billy had left his pregnant partner to pursue this new romance. To make matters worse, Claire also ended her relationship with musician Ben Lee, proving that collateral damage was not limited to one household. Public reaction was brutal. And for once, Hollywood was not impressed by the "we just fell in love" excuse. Claire later admitted she was young and did not fully understand the consequences, which is fair. But consequences showed up anyway. The relationship fizzled out after a few years, leaving behind heartbreak, backlash, and a reputation hit that followed both of them for a long time. Because when love starts by stepping over someone else, it rarely walks very far. Number 9. Morena Baccarin and Ben McKenzie. When the baby confirms the rumors. At first, Morena Baccarin did what most celebrities do when cheating rumors pop up. She denied everything. Calm statements, confident smile, nothing to see here. The only problem, she was still married, and a few months later, she was pregnant. And the father was not her husband. Morena met Ben McKenzie while filming Gotham, where they played characters tangled in a dark, complicated romance. Off-screen things followed the same script. According to divorce papers later filed by Morena's husband, Austin Chick, the two were still sharing a bed when she conceived Ben's child. At that point, the rumors were no longer rumors. They were math. The timing was brutal. Morena finalized her divorce just weeks before giving birth, then went on to marry Ben not long after. She later spoke glowingly about how wonderful it was to work with her significant other, especially while pregnant. Which is sweet if you ignore the emotional wreckage left behind. In Hollywood, scandals fade fast. happy endings get rewritten, and sometimes the paternity test doubles as the press release. Number 10. Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. When America's sweetheart lost her halo. For years, Meg Ryan was Hollywood's rom-com queen. Sweet, quirky, harmless. The woman you trusted with love, destiny, and a happy ending. Then came Proof of Life in 2000, and suddenly America's sweetheart was starring in a scandal no script could soften. Meg was married to actor Dennis Quaid, and they shared a young son. Russell Crowe, her intense and very charismatic co-star, entered the picture, and everything unraveled fast. Reports of an on-set affair spread, the press went nuclear, and the scandal became so toxic that Meg skipped much of the movie's promotion entirely. Even the film's director later blamed the affair for its box office failure. That is how bad it got. When Meg and Dennis announced their separation, public opinion turned brutal. Overnight, she went from lovable leading lady to tabloid villain. Meg later admitted that walking into a room felt like walking into judgment. The irony was impossible to miss. Hollywood forgives almost anything except when a woman dares to break the image they built for her. In the end, the affair faded, but the reputation damage stuck. Because in this town, losing the role is easy. Losing the halo is permanent. Number 11. Will Smith and Margot Robbie, when just friends needed a lot of explaining. In 2013, Will Smith was still Hollywood's ultimate family man, married to Jada Pinkett. Smith publicly wholesome, squeaky clean brand intact. Then he teamed up with Margot Robbie on the movie Focus, and suddenly the word focus was not what the internet was doing. A magazine dropped photos from a photo booth showing Will shirtless and Margot lifting her top to reveal lingerie. Cue chaos. Rumors exploded overnight, accusing Will of cheating with his much younger co-star. Headlines screamed, scandal fans panicked, and Hollywood collectively leaned in. It looked bad. Really bad. Especially for a marriage that was still publicly sold as traditional and rock solid at the time. Then came the cleanup. Sources claimed the photos were taken as a joke, commissioned by production, and witnessed by the entire cast and crew. Margot jumped on social media to shut everything down, calling the rumors ridiculous and insisting nothing romantic ever happened. And just like that, the scandal quietly faded away. No breakup, no divorce, no dramatic fallout. But the damage had already flirted with reality. Because in Hollywood, you do not need proof, just pictures that look suspicious enough. Sometimes the biggest scandal is not what happened, but how close it looked like it might have. Number 12, LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian, How You Get Them is How You Lose Them. LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian did not invent the co-star affair, but they definitely perfected the cliché. The two met while filming the Lifetime movie Northern Lights, and almost immediately sparks flew. Unfortunately, both of them arrived on set with spouses waiting at home. Minor detail. Hollywood has never been big on details. Before long, the flirting turned public. Dinner dates were photographed, whispers became headlines, and the press did the math no one wanted to admit. Eddie was married to Brandi Glanville. LeAnn was married to Dean Sharamet. Denials followed, but the evidence kept piling up, and eventually both marriages collapsed under the weight of very visible chemistry. LeAnn and Eddie went on to make their relationship official, and even married in 2011, proving the affair was not just a phase. But irony is patient. A few years later, Eddie was caught cheating again, this time on LeAnn herself. She downplayed it, insisting she was unfazed and fine with his behavior, which felt less like confidence and more like acceptance. Because in Hollywood, sometimes the biggest lesson comes full circle. If they cheated with you, they might cheat on you. and this couple became the textbook example. Number 13. Helena Bonham Carter and Kenneth Branagh. The golden couple that wasn't so golden. In the early 1990s, Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson were British royalty. Married, talented, critically adored, and publicly labeled the golden couple. Then Kenneth stepped onto the set of Frankenstein and met Helena Bonham Carter. And just like that, the fairy tale started developing cracks. Kenneth and Helena's relationship reportedly began during filming while he was still married to Emma. The scandal hit hard, not just because of the affair, but because Emma Thompson was universally loved. Fans felt betrayed on her behalf, and tabloids had a field day tearing apart the image of the perfect artistic marriage. Kenneth and Emma divorced in 1995, and the blame landed squarely on the set of that movie. Years later, Emma admitted the heartbreak deeply affected her, even fueling her emotional performance in Love Actually. The irony: she eventually worked alongside Helena in the Harry Potter films, proving that professionalism sometimes outlives personal devastation. Emma later joked that both she and Helena were a bit mad, which may explain Kenneth's taste, because nothing humbles a golden couple faster than a co-star who rewrites the script off-screen. Number 14. Abbie Cornish and Ryan Phillippe. When the marriage didn't survive the press tour. Ryan Phillippe once looked like he had the Hollywood dream locked down. Married to Reese Witherspoon, 2 kids, power couple status fully activated. Then he signed on to the war drama Stop Loss and met Australian actress Abbie Cornish. Suddenly, the most intense conflict was not in the movie, but at home. Rumors started flying when Ryan and Abbie were spotted a little too comfortable in public. Cozy dinners, late nights, and a level of confidence that suggested secrecy was no longer a priority. Reese reportedly discovered intimate messages between the two, which is usually the point where denial officially expires. After 7 years of marriage, she filed for divorce and Hollywood quietly picked sides. Ryan and Abbie continued dating for a while, but the relationship never quite escaped the shadow of how it began. Reese moved on, remarried, and rebuilt her image with ease. Ryan's reputation, however, took a noticeable hit. Because in Hollywood, cheating does not always end your career, but it definitely decides who gets the happy ending in the third act. Number 15. Keri Russell and Matthew Rhys when on-screen spies forgot to stay professional. On The Americans. Keri Russell and Matthew Rhys played married Soviet spies pretending to be the perfect suburban couple. Fake identities. Fake love. Very convincing chemistry. Unfortunately, that chemistry did not stay on camera. And there was one small issue. Keri was already married in real life. At the time, Keri was married to carpenter Shane Deary and shared 2 children with him. As rumors swirled about her closeness with Matthew, both actors carefully avoided confirming anything. Interviews were vague. Jokes were deflected. But paparazzi photos told a clearer story. By the end of 2013, Keri and Shane quietly separated, and the timeline suddenly made a lot more sense. Unlike most cheating scandals, this one somehow landed on its feet. Keri and Matthew went on to have a child together and became a long-term couple. Even more surprising, they reportedly maintained a friendly relationship with Keri's ex-husband. Hollywood called it mature. The internet called it suspiciously convenient. Because when a fake marriage on TV turns into a real one, it is hard not to wonder how much of the acting was actually rehearsal. Number 16. Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. Love at first cheat. Tori Spelling did not ease into scandal. She sprinted straight into it. In 2005, she met actor Dean McDermott, on the set of the Lifetime movie Mind Over Murder, and the connection was instant. Unfortunately, both of them were married to other people at the time. Awkward. Even more awkward, they both decided that was not a deal breaker. Tori later admitted in her memoir that they slept together the very first night they met, fully aware of each other's spouses waiting back home. She called it love at first sight, which is certainly one way to describe mutual infidelity. Within a year, both marriages were over, and Tori and Dean were married themselves, turning a Lifetime movie into a very long-running reality show. They went on to have 4 children and build an entire public identity around their chaotic romance. But irony struck again in 2013 when Dean was caught cheating, this time with the family nanny. Tori stayed. Therapy followed. Cameras rolled. Because when a relationship begins with cheating, fidelity tends to feel more like a suggestion than a rule. In Hollywood, some love stories do not repeat history. They loop it. Number 17. Kate Hudson and Owen Wilson when the set felt more awkward than the script. Kate Hudson met Owen Wilson while filming the 2006 comedy You, Me, and Dupree. On screen, it was supposed to be light, funny, and harmless. Off-screen, it was none of those things. At the time, Kate was married to musician Chris Robinson, and the marriage was already shaky. Owen's arrival did not exactly help stabilize it. The two actors were quickly rumored to be having an affair, and their chemistry during the press tour did nothing to calm speculation. Interviews got uncomfortable, jokes crossed lines, and suddenly, the movie promotion felt more like a public relationship soft launch. Not long after, Kate and her husband announced their separation, and the timing raised more eyebrows than the punchlines ever did. Kate and Owen briefly dated, confirmed the rumors, and then just as quickly fell apart. Public opinion turned. Kate took the heat, and Owen quietly exited the narrative. The relationship fizzled, but the damage stuck. Because in Hollywood, comedy does not always stay funny. Sometimes it just exposes who was laughing while the marriage fell apart. Number 18. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, Hollywood's most romantic affair that started very wrong. When Humphrey Bogart met Lauren Bacall on the set of To Have and Have Not in 1944, Hollywood called it destiny. What it actually was at first was a very discreet affair. Bacall was only 19, new to the industry, and visibly nervous on set. Bogart was 25 years older, already a major star, and very much married to actress Mayo Methot. Nothing controversial there. Except, of course, everything. According to Bacall's own memoir, there was no instant lightning bolt. Instead, Bogart became her emotional anchor during filming, slowly blurring the line between comfort and romance. Within weeks, the two were meeting in secret, kissing off set, and using their characters' names to hide their identities. Romantic, absolutely. Ethical, less so. Bogart's marriage collapsed soon after, and by 1945, he and Bacall were married just 11 days after his divorce was finalized. Hollywood rewrote the narrative instantly. The age gap became timeless love. The affair became meant to be, and the scandal faded into legend. Bogart and Bacall went on to become one of cinema's most iconic couples, proving that if a relationship lasts long enough, history tends to forgive how it started. Because in classic Hollywood fashion, cheating is only a problem until it turns into a love story worth selling. Number 19. Sienna Miller and Daniel Craig, When I Love You, was not just a sign-off. In 2005, Sienna Miller was engaged to Jude Law, one of Britain's biggest stars, and their relationship was already surviving public scandals of its own. Then she worked with Daniel Craig on the film Layer Cake, and suddenly the drama moved from tabloids to courtrooms. Because this time the affair did not leak through photos. It leaked through voicemail. The scandal exploded when journalists illegally hacked Daniel Craig's phone and uncovered a message from Sienna ending with the words, "I love you." Both actors initially tried to brush it off, insisting it meant nothing romantic. Sienna claimed she always signed off calls that way, which is an explanation that only works if you ignore context, tone, and the fact that she was engaged to someone else. Eventually, the truth came out in court. Sienna admitted she and Daniel were briefly involved, and Jude Law reportedly found out the same way the public did, through the press. The friendship between Jude and Daniel did not survive. The affair ended quickly, but the damage lingered. Because in Hollywood you can deny photos, spin timelines, and dodge questions. But once a voicemail says, "I love you," the story basically writes itself.